So your first statement is absolutely true. So this is usually when you see a public corruption investigation, and keep in mind that the public has been aware of the fact that Officer Vappie and the mayor have been under investigation, starting first with the mayor, going back over 2 years. And I guess about 6 or 8 months ago, it was reported by the media that both Officer Vappie and the mayor had hired criminal defense attorneys. So this is, easily 6 months before charges were brought against anybody. So I think the public has been well aware, and the issuance of federal subpoenas to media of stories reported on the comings and goings of the mayor and Officer Vappie from the Pontabla apartments and dining together on the balcony of Tableau and drinking wine during happy hour at Doris Metropolitan from 2022. So this was, I think, something that was not really coming as a surprise to anybody. I think that this is the first step normally in public corruption investigations and prosecutions. You don't see one all-encompassing indictment. You usually see a series of indictments working your way up the ladder, as you referred to at the beginning of this segment. So this is the first rung of the ladder. It involves Officer Vappie and the mayor. And they make it very clear in the indictment that public official one is the mayor of the city of New Orleans. And the indictment paints a very comprehensive picture that the mayor and Officer Vappie were involved in a personal romantic relationship. They reference the fact that the government has cell phone records of both the mayor and Officer Vappie that includes text messages, voice messages, and photographs that were exchanged between the two of them over a 2+ year period of time that, in the opinion of the government, provides proof that they were involved in a romantic relationship. Why is that an issue? Well, it's only an issue because Officer Vappie, while he was on duty, supposedly providing protection to the mayor and charging the city for performing his duties as a police officer, allegedly was involved in a personal romantic relationship. And under departmental rules and policies, police officers have to devote their full attention during their paid shift on the police department with performing their official duties. If Officer Vappie is consuming wine or dining with the mayor or involved in other non-police specific activities with the mayor, then that is a violation of departmental rules and policies, which means that he's not performing the official duties that he is tasked with doing as a member of the executive protection team. There are 4 members to the executive protection team, and only Officer Vappie was allowed in and out of the Pontabla apartment. Only Officer Vappie was observed dining with the mayor and consuming alcohol with the mayor on multiple occasions. And according to the government, they can prove that their relationship was something much more than a professional relationship. It was personal, and the way that they will prove that is with the cell phone messages, photographs, and voice messages that the government has obtained from their respective telephones communicating back and forth. The government also points out to further evidence of the relationship that the mayor enjoyed with Officer Vappie, that he was under investigation by PIB in 2023 for misconduct with respect to the performance of his duties with the mayor. And as that investigation was concluded, but before any sanctions were issued, the government alleges that Officer Vappie approached the then interim superintendent, Michelle Woodfork, and tried to coerce her or intimidate her or convince her to exonerate him in the investigation. When interim superintendent Michelle Woodfork refused to do so, she informed the mayor that she intended to sanction the officer. It was a low-level sanctions. It was just essentially a written reprimand with no suspensions, nothing that would remain on his permanent record, and he was returned to the executive protection team shortly after doing that. But that still wasn't good enough, and apparently the mayor decided that she was not going to nominate Michelle Woodfork to be the superintendent and called Michelle Woodfork into her office to advise her of that, and Officer Vappie was present during that, which sent another message that not only was Officer Vappie, who is subordinate to both the mayor and the superintendent, was allowed in the room. But I think the government also included that in the indictment because it's further evidence of the relationship that existed with the mayor, that the mayor wanted a police officer to be present in the room when the mayor informed the interim superintendent that she was not going to be her nominee to be the permanent superintendent. So that was just another example of Officer Vappie and the mayor sending a message to Michelle Woodfork and anyone else that was privy to what occurred, that if you cross them, if you don't do what they tell you to do, there'll be a price to pay for that.
This is go ahead.
I think that this whole thing that we're seeing right now is just the beginning of the next phase. The thing that to me is significant that goes beyond just the Vappie thing, and if you think about it, the government, if they're going to charge the mayor, historically, public corruption cases involve more than just what was described in the Vappie indictment. Usually a corrupt official that's charged with federal felonies has received bribes and performed and used their appointive or elective office for personal enrichment. That hasn't been alleged yet. But if the government has the mayor's cell phone records, and she felt comfortable enough to, with her cell phone records and the confidentiality of those cell phone records, to conduct and document the exchanges that the government captured and reported in their indictment of Officer Vappie, if she felt that her cell phone was, in fact, secure and safe, perhaps the government already has proof of the mayor receiving other criminal inducements that may be the subject of future indictments coming down. So, the mayor underestimated the government's ability to obtain her cell phone records. They've had them. They have over 2 years worth of cell phone records. They documented her, what she thought were confidential text messages, voice messages, and shared confidential photographs between her and Officer Vappie. And if they have her cell phone records, it includes everything on her cell phones, and that would include any communication she may have had with anybody that would have potentially tried to influence her decisions as the mayor of the city of New Orleans and offer financial inducements in exchange for favorable rulings or intervention on her part with respect to her official duties as mayor of the city of New Orleans.